Welcome to Vegan Food and Living's Simply Vegan podcast with me, Holly Johnson, and my co-host, Gabriella Clark. With a new episode live every Tuesday, we discuss the latest vegan news, taste test the newest vegan products, and chat to some of the leading names in veganism. Welcome to this week's episode. We're so happy to have you here and thanks for listening. Before we get going, please give us a review. We want as many people as possible to listen to this podcast. We want to spread the word that veganism is the best possible option for the planet, for your health and for the animals. So if you feel as passionate as we do, myself and Gabriella, drop us a review on your platform of choice, just a few lines, just tell us what you think so that other people can read that and kind of, maybe be inspired to give us a listen. So yes, thank you. And how are you, Gabriella?
I'm good, thank you, Holly. Trying not to complain about the heat, but I'm a little warm, I have to say. How are you?
I can imagine how you feel. I had my daughter in July and it was really hard going being that pregnant in the middle of summer. And yeah, I feel the same, like I'm boiling right now, but I'm not going to complain. We cannot complain about this heat.
We cannot complain. It's very British to beg for the warm weather and then to moan when it arrives, isn't it?
I know. I do love it. I absolutely love it. It just makes me so happy. So what have you been up to this week? You finished work, haven't you?
I have. I've finished work. I finished my yoga teaching, taken a bit of a break from that. Now I am a couple of weeks from my due date. So just enjoying some time at home. The nesting has kicked in, I think. And just getting ready, just getting organised.
Lovely. Yeah, I've had a lovely weekend going paddle boarding. We had a barbecue on the beach with some Linda McCartney vegan burgers or veggie burgers, quarter pounders, which are lovely, and some barbecued courgette. Oh, and some smoked tofu slices, which was really nice, and some like raw slaw and stuff. Yeah, it's just been so nice to have some sunshine. Let's cover some news that's been hitting the headlines this week. So it's another study, as we discussed last week. There was a really small study, may I add, 187 people, that was done in Poland, and it concluded that the vegan children were 3 inches shorter and had lower bone density. And every news outlet picked it up, of course, because it's sensationalist and, everyone wants to kind of do the vegan bashing. So this study that's come out this week has not been picked up by half as many media outlets. However, it was much bigger, and it concluded that people on a plant-based diet, vegan and vegetarian, and I think pescatarian as well, were 73% less likely to suffer with severe COVID. To me, this is massive. Why is it not all over the news? Why is no one shouting about this? I think it was picked up by The Independent and I think Sky News and hardly anyone else. Sort of random local news agencies had kind of reported on it.
I think that in itself is so telling, isn't it? I mean, you can't get much more topical than COVID and, ways that are lifestyle based, I suppose, that you can reduce your chances of really suffering from COVID. And yet it hasn't been picked up at all. I think you're right. There's a lot more to that, a lot more behind that than just it's been missed in the news, especially as you say, as it was a bigger study than, for example, the one on vegan children that we discussed last week. So yeah, definitely a cause for concern there that it's not been picked up. However, amazingly positive that there's a study that's come out that is so championing the health benefits of veganism in relation to something as topical as COVID.
Definitely. I mean, 2,300 people who did not test positive for COVID-19 were polled, along with 568 who had tested positive. 138 reported moderate to severe symptoms, while 430 said they had suffered only a mild or very mild form of the illness. Those on a low carbohydrate, high protein diet appeared to be linked to an increased chance of contracting moderate to severe illness. And this was published in the BMJ Nutrition, Prevention and Health. And it took in data from healthcare workers across 6 countries, including the UK. So, you know, this is a good study.
It was really good. And I noticed at the end of the article I was reading as well, a professor from UCL Genetics Institute said that from a sample size perspective and really competent analysis of the study, you know, there's definitely room for more investigation to validate the claim that there is a causal but direct link between diet and the severity of how you suffer from COVID-19. And you know, once you are vegan and you make the change, I haven't met anybody who has switched to that diet yet and not felt really tangible health benefits. So it was just really great to read.
So true. Every person I speak to who's on, you know, who's gone vegan, but it's mainly whole food, plant-based, you know, with obviously plenty of treats, but mainly eating a lot of fruit and veg and beans and nuts and seeds and everything. Everybody says, I've not been ill. And I literally have not been ill. I mean, I've had both my jabs now, but I don't know about you. I'm a little bit, well, quite a lot older than you. Aren't I?
Yeah.
But I've had both my jabs now, and I mean, whether this is a good thing or not, it seems to be up for debate, because when you kind of try and look up whether it's good to not have a reaction or not, I've had no reaction to either jab. So I'm hoping that that's a good thing. Have you had any of yours yet?
I haven't had any of mine yet, but my partner has now had both of his, and he is also vegan and had no reaction whatsoever.
Okay.
And yeah, between the two of us, rarely, if at all, in the years that we've been vegan, have felt unwell. So yeah, I mean, we're fully aware of the health benefits, but the more these studies can come out, and hopefully the more they can be picked up by more mainstream media, the better, because, you know, I think at the moment people are willing to do a lot of things to reduce their likelihood of getting COVID or suffering from the effects of long COVID, or, you know, really severely suffering from the infection at all. So yeah, hopefully it's a great step for promoting veganism in general.
So that was quite exciting to see. Some other news. We are currently number 12 most popular podcast in the food category in the whole of the UK, which, okay, number 12 may not seem that great, but there are literally hundreds of food podcasts, and that's not just vegan food, that is all food. So you've got all the, you know, the BBC podcasts, you've got all the big boys, and yeah, we're smashing it. I cannot believe it. And you know what? This is not about us. This is about veganism for me, and that's why I'm just so happy and excited to know that we're, you know, everyone's interested enough to listen to this podcast, and you know, we've got to number 12.
I know, it's amazing. It's amazing to know that people are listening, and I think, like you say, to know there's an appetite out there for people to either learn more and are maybe at the start of their vegan journey, or they're far in and just want to listen to tips or news or reviews, all the while there's that buzz and that drive to make a change and to do something positive, either whether you're doing it for your health, the planet, the animals, is fantastic.
Really exciting. So let's talk reviews, shall we? What have we been taste testing this week?
So we were lucky to try the Marks and Spencer's new dine-in for £8 plant kitchen range, weren't we?
We were, yeah. So it's their first vegan meal deal that they're offering, and it's £8. It's only in selected stores. However, you found it in quite a small store close to you, didn't you?
Yeah, so I have a very small M&S local in the high street of the town that I live in, and plenty of choice, and the meal deal was running in that store. So yeah, easy to come by, I think.
Brilliant. So the menu includes for £8, like I said, and it serves two, one main, one side, and one dessert. So for mains, you can choose from Plant Kitchen No Chicken Kiev, melt in the middle fish cakes, or beef steak pies. For the sides, there's creamy mashed potato, green veg medley, or sweet potato fries. And for dessert, again, all Plant Kitchen, there's churros, which are, if you haven't heard of churros or you don't know what they are, they're kind of like long, thin sort of donuts, aren't they, really?
Yeah.
There's chocolate pots and strawberry cheesecake wedges. So what did you go for, Gabriella?
So I, for our main, chose the no beef steak pies because I have separately already tried both the chicken Kievs and the melt in the middle fish cakes, and I am huge fan of both of those. So I thought I'd try something different. So I went for that with the mash, creamy mashed potato. And I did also buy the veg. So even though that was an additional dish outside of the meal deal, it was still really reasonable, and fancied some veg to go alongside the pie and mash. So I did actually try those three, and I have to say we were really, really impressed. The meal itself was delicious, so easy to cook, really easy to cook, easy dinner, especially if it's kind of like a midweek, want an easy fix. My favorite actually out of all three of those dishes that we tried was the veg medley, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah, so it was leeks, peas and broccoli, really generous portion size. I mean, across the board, the pies, the mash, the veg medley was huge. I struggled to finish the meal actually, and I am eating for two, so I can eat a good portion size. I can confirm, so really generous. But the veg came with like a vegan Caesary dressing that you poured over the top once you'd cooked the veg, so it was quite creamy.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, and it was really delicious. And we didn't add a gravy or anything ourselves, and actually didn't need it because the veg was so creamy, as was the mash, and then the filling of the pie. For me, it was a really great midweek dinner.
God, yeah, that's a nice touch actually, isn't it? Because sometimes when you get the side dish and it's just kind of some peas and stuff, you kind of think, I could have just sort of got those out of my freezer. So it's nice that they had a blend of vegetables and a nice sauce with it.
Definitely. And the pie itself, I found even though it's kind of marketed as a no steak beef pie, I didn't find that it was trying to imitate being meat at all, like that kind of texture that you'd normally get in a meat pie. It was really rich, but the meatiness of it was quite soft. It wasn't heavy going. The pastry was delicious. I'd absolutely buy those again for sure.
Lovely. Well, I went for the no chicken Kievs because people have been raving about these for so long. Everyone I speak to, they're like, oh, the chicken Kievs from Marks and Spencer's. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try them. They are fairly high in fat, I'd say. And I think they were red for salt as well. So I was a bit like, oh, it's a bit of a naughty treat. But it was Sunday. We had lovely weather all day. You know, we didn't really fancy being in the kitchen cooking for long, so it all went in the oven, and I can confirm they are really, really good.
They are.
My daughter was a bit like, are they going to be really garlicky? Because I think sometimes Kievs can be a bit overkill, can't they, with loads of sort of garlicky oil in the middle. But it was just the right balance of kind of crispy coating, chicken style mock meat, and then the garlic butter in the middle. And yeah, they were lovely. And we had them with the sweet potato wedges and some veg. Really, really nice. Obviously not something you want to eat, you know, every day or maybe even every week, but as a nice treat. It's just, like you say, it's so easy. And let's face it, we're all so busy that every now and again we need these options. You know, I know a lot of people, there's a huge debate over whether we should be eating these processed vegan options or not. But, you know, we've just got to be realistic, haven't we? Are you going to be able to cook from scratch every single day, you know, for the rest of your life, no. So yeah, brilliant option.
Totally. And I think, you know, it is about being realistic. If 80-90% of the time you are cooking whole foods from scratch, lots of fresh ingredients, and then the evenings, like you say, where you don't want to be in the kitchen or you can't be in the kitchen. And I think £8 for a really generous portion size for two is a really great price. We also had the churros for dinner, which I can't not mention because they were incredible. We'd had one churros each, and my partner was texting a group chat that we have with another vegan couple saying, get yourself to M&S now and try these churros.
Oh wow, that's brilliant.
They were delicious, amazing texture. Even though you bake them in the oven, they kind of retain that crispiness that you would expect, with a really kind of soft, light middle, and then the most delicious chocolate sauce to go with it. So yeah, I'd happily buy those outside of the meal deal.
Lovely. Was it milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
It was a darker chocolate, yeah, dark chocolate. He just heated the sauce actually in the microwave for a couple of seconds, so really easy to do. But yeah, a nice treat. We actually had them the night after the pie and mash because the portion size on the pie and mash was so big we didn't have room for dessert.
Oh God, that's a good sign. I didn't actually manage to get hold of any of the desserts from the meal deal. However, I picked up the new plant-based raspberry ripple ice cream.
Oh,
was so good because obviously we've had all this hot weather, and anyone listening outside of the UK, we apologize. You know, we us Brits get excited about sunshine because we had a whole month of rain in May, and before that it was just lockdown and dreariness. So we we do get excited when we, you know, when it finally heats up. So yeah, the raspberry ripple ice cream was delicious, really creamy, just enough sweet raspberry ripple running through without it being too sickly, because I don't have a sweet tooth. So, you know, I'm never kind of into it being too overly sweet. So yeah, really nice.
Well done, M&S all round. I think they never disappoint.
They don't. And obviously this is the reason they won best own brand vegan supermarket range with our Vegan Food and Living Awards. So let's go on to the next thing that we tested, Rhythm 108. I absolutely love this brand. Have you tried them before?
No, this was a totally new brand for me, actually.
Oh my God, you need to, well, I always find it in Sainsbury's. I know they're available at other stores, but I always find them in my sort of large local Sainsbury's. So they have just introduced some new soft baked filled cookies, and they come in two flavors, hazelnut chocolate praline and chocolate peanut butter. They're available at Sainsbury's, Booths, Planet Organic, and various independent stores. They're $1.39 each, but they're nice. They're sort of a nice large size, aren't they?
I was very, very happy to find this delivery arrive when I got home from work. As I say, I'd not actually heard of the brand myself. And so, yeah, we had the two new soft bake filled cookies. I absolutely loved the hazelnut chocolate praline one. I thought I would prefer the peanut butter, being a huge peanut butter fan, but the hazelnut one was just like eating a Nutella filled cookie. And I was really taken aback by how kind of soft and fresh like a pre-packed cookie could taste. It was that same softness that you'd expect if you bought a fresh cookie from a bakery, but you know, in a pre-packed version, which was amazing.
And the packaging is 100% sustainable and compostable, which is incredible. The hazelnut praline one was out of this world, and I will be hunting it down. Like I said, I always say on this show, I do not have a sweet tooth, but every now and again, I just get that craving for just a little bit of chocolate, and this really hit the spot. I really like the peanut butter one as well. I don't know, maybe anything that says peanut butter, I always think, oh my God, it's going to be calorific, you know? But I enjoyed both. However, if I had to choose, it would be the hazelnut praline one. And finally, we taste tested some new snacks from a startup brand called Real Handful. they're not roasted or fried in oil, and they're kind of craft baked nuts, and they come in different flavors, salt and vinegar, sweet and salty, barbecue. You can order them online at the moment. They're £12.50 for 5 quite large packs. Obviously, with these startup brands, the more that people kind of show interest and they get into different outlets, and I'm sure you'll end up seeing this brand in your local supermarket. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed these. What did you think?
Me too. I thought lovely brand, lovely packaging. This is definitely the sort of thing I would buy. I am much more a savoury person, and anything like this is definitely my kind of snacking go-to. And we tried the salt and vinegar kind of mix of nuts, and I think it was like a corn, nuts
Crispy
and corn.
yeah.
Loads of flavour without being too kind of overpowering. You could tell that what you were eating was good for you, was tasted good, and wasn't filled with lots of unnecessary things. So yeah, great things to keep in the cupboard to snack on.
Yeah, I loved the sweet and salty ones. They were right up my street. The salt and vinegar to me were a little bit too tangy. I think I'm not. It's funny, I love sort of a vinegary flavour, but sometimes when it's kind of that salt and vinegar, sort of classic fish and chips type vinegar, I found them a little bit too tangy. But the sweet and salty were amazing, because the sweet nuts were kind of caramelized, and then you've got the saltiness of the other flavors. So yeah, really, really nice. And great to see a new brand, and always good to support a new brand that's championing sort of healthy snacks and things like that. Well, that's it from us for our news and reviews section, but please do not go anywhere, because I will be chatting to Matt Pritchard from Dirty Sanchez / Dirty Vegan. You may have heard of him. I'm sure you have. He's great fun. Unfortunately, when I did speak to him, he was ill in bed after one of his recent challenges. So he wasn't quite his normal self. I have interviewed him before, and usually he uses a lot more expletives. He was quite he was very well behaved for this interview, but I hope you enjoy it. He's a great guy, and he's championing veganism. He's got, even his dog's got 9,000 followers, which is incredible. I think he's got an awful lot of followers. So yeah, have a listen, and me and Gabriella will see you next week. Hi, Matt. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Holly.
How are you, and what have you been up to lately?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, actually, I've been ill for the last 2 days, but I'm still breathing. But lately, I rode across the Atlantic from Lanzarote to we were going to start in Lanzarote to Antigua, but we had a bit of trouble. We had to get rescued. So we went from Portaventura to Antigua, which was 3,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean. So I've just got back from that, and I'm sort of just chilling and recovering, really.
Wow. So you're allowed to do all that with COVID going on?
It's a very long story. We were meant to be going in February, and because of COVID and Brexit and everything, I started training in October last year. On a rowing machine, which is just in my house for obvious reasons, because I couldn't go to a gym or anything.
Yeah.
So we were all ready to go, and COVID was posing problems, and we were trying to find loopholes to let us go. I think we were allowed to go because we were raising money for charity. So there was that. Apparently, we were allowed to travel for that reason.
Right. Okay.
But then Brexit again caused problems because we had to get the boat across into Europe. So there was loads of paperwork and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
we went to Lanzarote about 3 weeks before the boat turned up. And then when the boat did turn up in Lanzarote, they didn't do the paperwork right in Cadiz. So then we couldn't get the boat. Oh, I tell you what, it was major headwork. We were meant to leave early February. So like I said, it's a long story, but everything just kept going wrong. Everything was against us. And but we managed to leave the first week of March instead.
Right.
And we got to Antigua May the 2nd.
Right. So who were you raising money for?
Raising money for Dean Farm Trust in Chepstow, which is they look after animals which have been used in the industry, cows, pigs, meat industry, and they just look after them till they give them a nice happy life.
Yeah.
Rather than being slaughtered. And they've got 180 residents at the moment. I've been there a few times. Turkeys, chickens, sheep, you name it. It's brilliant. And a mental health charity called Human, which, as yourself know, mental health at the moment is really bad because of COVID, people being locked down. So so these are the two charities.
Yeah, some really worthy causes. So should we let's talk veganism then. You're not exactly a kind of stereotypical vegan, are you? No offense.
What is a stereotypical vegan?
I guess, if you put you in a lineup and ask someone to pick out the vegan, then they might not pick you. I mean, your motto, sleep when you're dead. You obviously used to do some crazy stuff back in the days of Dirty Sanchez. So how did veganism come into your life?
In 2015, I turned vegan because I was doing a lot of 2011. I started doing the stuff like marathons, and then I got into the endurance stuff like Ironman and long distance triathlons. And I started doing because I was reading a lot of magazines and a lot about athletes that do long distance stuff, and there was a lot of vegans, and I was quite intrigued to know why there was a lot of people who were on a vegan diet and doing such long distance triathlons. Because when you don't know about it, you would think, like most people think, how can you do all that on a vegan diet?
Yeah.
You should be weak. But anyway, I sort of did some research, and then a Cowspiracy documentary, Cowspiracy on Netflix. I thought, I'll have a look at that, and that really opened my eyes. I was like, oh my god! I just thought veganism was just not eating meat or animal products, and there was just so much more to it. It just opened my eyes to the lies, basically. I think you can put it, the lies you've been told from the day you were put on this planet.
Yeah.
Up until I actually saw that documentary, and then I just made that decision, and I thought, well, that sounds, I love animals as well. I absolutely love animals, and I've got my dog Lenny as well. And it's just, why should I be eating it? I shouldn't. No, none of us should be. And I just went vegan the next day, and I haven't looked back. And then I sort of went back to my roots of cooking and started a YouTube channel, and then Dirty Vegan come off the back of that. So yeah, that's how it all started.
Amazing. So did you get much backlash from like friends and family when you just kind of did that overnight?
My mother disowned me. No, she didn't. I mean, no, you get your odd mate who's gonna take the mickey, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they're just taking the piss. But online, oh god, got quite a lot of got quite a lot. But hey, it is. It just boggles me how one word triggers such hate in people.
I know.
I mean, I've gone vegan. Why should I have to bother you that much?
Yeah.
But hey, that's just the world we live in, I guess. And it's getting more acceptable, which is great. So
yeah, definitely. It's getting more and more mainstream, isn't it? But I think we've got a way to go. I think kind of vegan bashing seems to be still acceptable online when you read the comments on some things and you just think, really? I mean, why is there so much hatred? It's crazy.
Like I said with that, you said earlier, when you're vegan, like what when I did say I was going vegan, everyone knew I did all these long distance triathlons and long distance marathons and stuff. And they're like, well, you're going to need to be careful because, you're going to get yourself ill. You're not going to have enough energy to do all these things. So I just thought, I had quite a lot of that. And I thought, well, I'm going to make it my mission to show everyone that just because I eat a vegan diet, I can still do this stuff almost really better than what I did when I was eating meat. And, I think doing 30 half Ironmen in a row, doing 10 full Ironmen in a row, and rowing an ocean on a vegan diet. I think that sort of answers everyone's questions that vegans aren't weak, but actually quite powerful.
Yeah. Well, if your body's not concentrating on digesting all that meat, then I guess it's kind of got more energy to be fueling you to row the Atlantic and things like that.
Yeah, but let's not forget that even just because you're a vegan, it doesn't mean you're healthy. Because as we all know, there's a lot of processed vegan food at the moment, and it's really delicious. But you've got to have a balance.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, do you kind of describe yourself as plant-based?
Do you mean a whole food?
Yeah.
A full whole food plant-based diet? Right. No. I do eat stuff like Beyond Burgers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But day to day, you sort of try to eat sort of as healthy as possible, I'm guessing, and then with the odd bit of junk food thrown in.
Yeah, like I said, it's a balance with everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose. And it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. But I would like to have a full whole food plant-based diet on a 7 days a week, 24/7. But hey, it's just a nice big greasy Beyond Burger once in blue moon is nice, That's a treat.
Life's too short to miss out on things like that.
Exactly.
So what kind of healthy meals do you eat then to support, when you're training? I mean, it sounds pretty intense, some of the things that you're doing. What kind of meals do you eat?
A lot of wholemeal stuff, wholemeal rice, wholemeal pastas, just lots of veg, lots of legumes and lentils and all that kind of stuff, really. Just really clean eating food.
Yeah. Tofu?
And tofu. I do eat tofu. I don't eat that much tofu though, but I do eat it. Organic if I try.
Yeah.
I do eat tofu. And when I'm actually doing an event, or when I'm actually doing an Ironman or long distance stuff, I normally take nuts and dates. The dates are banging. They're full of carbs and the sugars. I try not to eat too much sugary stuff because you just get a massive sugary high and then poof, just get a massive low. So I try and keep it clean as possible. And actually, I do like white bread sandwiches with peanut butter and jam in them.
Oh yeah.
They really power you. When you're feeling sluggish, and then you have one of them, so bang, poof, off you go. Gives you a good kick up the ass.
Do you eat out much? You live in Cardiff, don't you? Are there any good vegan restaurants over there?
There's one about 5 minutes from my house, actually, called Anna Loca.
Right.
It's been there since 2014. Brilliant restaurant, absolutely amazing. I'll do all the wraps and the healthy juices. You everything, kombuchas. It's really nice. So if I do eat out, I normally go there. There's a few more opening. There's quite a few fake fast food ones opening. There was one called the Greasy Vegan in the city centre, which unfortunately is closed. I think COVID affected it.
Yeah.
And but they did stuff like they did a Big Mac, and it's like
wow.
Big Mac, but it was a vegan version. I'm not joking. It literally was like a Big Mac, but obviously there's no meat in it. I was like, and they did like doner kebabs and all that kind of stuff.
Lush, yeah.
But hey, but if I do eat out in Cardiff, it's normally vegan. It's normally Anna Loca. But eating out, I don't go out often. I just like to cook in the house. When I was on the boat, because a lot of people are asking, how did you eat vegan on the boat?
Right.
And but we had I had a mixture of freeze dried and dehydrated foods, vegan foods. So we just heated up some water on the jet boil, poured it into the bag, rehydrated it. Took like 15 minutes and just air out the bag. But I did have the obviously I've never done this before, but the skipper and the people at Monkey Fist said you need to have snack packs, which were just ones you could just snack in the night and just make up the calories, because we were burning 10,000 calories a day, which is a lot.
Blimey.
And I made up like 50 bags of like nuts, dates, again, dried fruits, all that kind of stuff. And they were double bagged with those plastic freezer bags, but the boat was so brand new that it stunk of glue, epoxy glue. So I put them in the locker, and then when I got on the boat to eat them, they'd been in all the food had soaked up the smell of the glue. So it just tasted like I was eating glue. So I had to chuck every single bit of food away. So I was just living off the dehydrated foods.
Oh, that sounds really depressing, actually.
That was right. I survived.
Brilliant. Let's go back to Dirty Vegan. So you hosted that, didn't you? And it was the BBC's first vegan cookery show. What was it like doing that?
Yeah, that was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. It was learned a lot as well, and I was getting to meet loads of different people, like cooking for women's rugby teams and cooking for the school kids and cooking them all vegan food, and meeting scientists and stuff, food scientists, telling you about how things work. But yeah, it was good. It's good. We did two series, and yeah, it was really enjoyable.
Are there any plans for another series?
There isn't any plans at the moment, but my agent's talking to a few people, so fingers crossed.
Okay. Yeah, we need to keep veganism in the mainstream, don't we? Keep it kind of, because Bosch had their cookery show, didn't they, recently? Living on the Veg.
Yeah, that was good. That was. Are they having a second series?
I don't know actually. I'll have to drop them a line and see what's going on. Come on.
I sound like Alan Partridge. We have a second series.
I know.
Yeah, it is important that we keep it in the mainstream and keep it on the big channel, because a lot of people get to see it, and it opens a lot of people's eyes. So fingers crossed the Bosch boys get a second series, and fingers crossed if I get one or anyone, really.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think you kind of converted a lot of people, like you said, you know, women's rugby teams and things like that? How was it received when you kind of went and cooked with them?
Yeah, it was really, a lot of them are, like most people, they're quite surprised what you can eat on a vegan diet. I think when you tell people and cooking some vegan food, they think you're just going to give them a plate of grass from the garden or something with some lettuce on the side. But they're quite surprised how tasty and how good vegan food is. And especially when they did the Cardiff Devils ice hockey team, you know, they're proper big, gnarly dudes. They like steaks and the chicken and the beef.
Yeah.
But when I cooked for them, they were like, "Whoa, man, this is amazing." Answering your question, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did change a few people's perspectives on veganism and food.
Yeah.
And this is why, like I said, it's important to keep it in the mainstream, so it just keeps it in people's minds.
Exactly. And again, the non-stereotypical vegan, you know, like you. I know you say what is a stereotypical vegan, but I think, you know, people do have this view that I mean, most vegans are actually women, but you know, that they're a certain type. They might be a bit hippie, they might be a bit perhaps sort of middle class, or, you know, eating their tofu and their avocados. So yeah, I think it's it's great to have people like you in the public eye.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose with my background in Dirty Sanchez and being known as a lunatic, and obviously to most, I must eat meat because I'm a lunatic or whatever. So, yeah. I mean, I know there's quite a few Sanchez fans who've messaged me since I went vegan in 2015 and said, "Oh, you know, thanks to you, I've changed my diet now. I'm no vegan." Stuff. So it does help.
Yeah,
and it has worked. So it's just nice to see. And you know, I'm not going to be that person to start preaching to people and tell them they have to. But it's nice to educate people and let them know, and then let them make the decision. And if that's what they decide to do, then great. If it isn't, then it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I just think the more that it's out there, you know, and like you say, we are kind of educating each other. on, not only on what goes on with food practices behind the scenes, but also the impact on the planet. I mean, whether you kind of care about animals or not, you need to kind of start kind of stepping up in a way, don't you, and caring about the planet. Otherwise we won't have anywhere to call home any longer.
A lot of people know it, but I think they refuse to want to believe it.
Yeah.
It's that, what's the word? Cognitive dissonance. Yes, that's very fancy for me.
Well done.
But cognitive dissonance, and I think a lot of people suffer with that.
Yeah.
They know it's wrong, but they keep doing it.
Yeah.
But they need to start. Well, sounds like I'm preaching, but they need to start changing it quick, because as we all know, the planet's suffering.
Yeah, exactly. So what advice would you give to anyone who's new to veganism?
Take your time, enjoy it, do some research on what you can eat and what you can't eat. If you do mess up, don't beat yourself up. Just enjoy it, man. It's not going to kill you. It's all good. Keep smiling and just enjoy the food, enjoy the lifestyle. It's great. It's good.
What's next for you then? What plans have you got for the rest of the year?
My business in Cardiff for my tattoo and barbershop. That's just in the process of getting that, well, not back up and running. It's been there since 2015. But COVID is obviously, like most people's businesses, everything sort of slowed down a lot. So starting to pick that up again. More people are starting to come into town. So there's more people coming back into the business, which is great.
Yeah.
Keep myself busy as in fitness. Now I just come off the boat. I just want to give myself another goal. I've got an ultra marathon at the end of August, which is basically you just run around in circles, 4-mile loop. But you have to do 4 miles within the hour. And the only winner is the last man standing. So,
oh my God.
Similar race was on this weekend, and there were 2 guys, Matt and John, and they both refused to give up. And the world record was 75 loops, which is 75 hours. The one of them chucked the towel in loop 80.
Wow.
That was 80 hours. So he beat the world record, and then the other guy had to do another loop to become the winner. So we just did 357 miles, no sleep, and 81 hours. I won't be doing anything like that, but I'm hoping to do 100 miles, and I'd see where I go from there. But that's what I've got coming up in August.
Kind of thing just blows my mind. I mean, how does anyone keep going for that long? I just don't. I mean, what drives you to keep going to do it? Is it because it makes you feel good?
I just really enjoy it. I find it's a way to switch off from the world. The world's quite noisy. So it gets on my fries my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
And when I go for a run or a bike, it's my little time to sort of switch off. It's almost like my kind of meditation in a way. And if I've got a goal to focus or to train for, then when you're doing those kind of distances, you're sort of in your own little head. I know it sounds nuts to most, but I'm just going around in circles in my own little head, switched off from everything, and just lots of time to. A lot of time to think. A lot of people think I'm nuts. You're most probably right, but I enjoy it, and it's good.
Yeah. Well, respect to you for doing it. I mean, I did a half marathon once and threw up. That's about as far as I got. Oh, it's been fantastic talking to you.
No, thanks, Holly.
Yeah, we'll hopefully see you on our screens at some point in the future.
Happy days. Fingers crossed.
Well, thanks for listening. That's it till next week. Like I said earlier, don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes or your platform of choice. Just write us a couple of lines. Let us know what you think so that other people can be inspired to listen as well. And we can spread the news that veganism is a fantastic choice for your own health and the planet and the animals. Next week, I'll be speaking to the Vegan Society, who will be talking about their Thriving Vegan campaign. So I'll see you next Tuesday.